Hi guys, I welcome you all to this fourth video of module 3 where we are going to go ahead and add constructor to our rocket class. This is where we'll be setting up the attributes with the help of this constructor, then finally create a rocket object out of it which will be having some of its unique properties, and then we're going to test it. So let's get into the video. So let's go ahead and create one more text cell over here, and now it's time to add properties to this particular class rocket. And according to our terminologies, we call it as attributes. So add attributes to this class. And what are the attributes I'm going to add? I'm going to see I can add color, I can add whatever thing I want. But to just keep things simple as of now, I'll just simply say that I am going to add some x and y coordinates. So whenever someone is going to create an object from this rocket class, it's always going to have, let's say for example, 0, 0 as their starting coordinate. Okay, you can also allow user to change it, that the starting coordinate could be something else. It's completely fine. But for now, I am just going to ensure that whenever this rocket will be created, it will always have this x and y coordinate set to 0. Later on in the upcoming videos, you will be seeing that I can also allow user to do this kind of things, and they can change these initial positions of x and y. So for now, I'm going to say that I add x and y coordinates and set both of them to 0. Okay, that's something I want to do. So because I'm already having this initial class that I have created, I'll copy paste it over here. And now how can you add attributes to this class? We can do this with a very special type of method that we have in Python. And remember, these methods are nothing but functions. So to create this function, I need to use def. Now, because I've told you that there is a special method for this, there is a way through which we can initialize this kind of attributes for this class. And the way that we do is it with the help of init method. And this methods within a class will always have one type of argument, that is self. So whenever I'll be creating different methods within a class, the first argument will always be self. Now, what is the purpose of this self? Well, to be honest, you will be understanding this as we go ahead. But if I really have to introduce you the idea of this self, so this self is going to help us refer to this current object that you're going to work with. So for example, I'm going to create one of the rocket right after initializing this kind of attributes. How can I get access of that x and y coordinate of that specific rocket? So I can get it with the help of this self, because this is referring to what? This is referring to the current object that we are working with. Okay, but as I mentioned, you will only understand it once we start using this type of classes. So just bear with me. So what I have done over here, I have created a simple method over here that's going to initialize some of the attributes. So because I want my x to be 0 and I want my y to be 0, this is something that I want to do. But now how will my object know what is the x and y coordinate? So to get these properties out of the class for that one object that we will be creating, this self is used. So self.x is your 0. Self.y is 0. Where what is this self? This self is that rocket that you have created from this rocket class. And by using that object name, whatever it is, let's say it's rocket 1. So if I want to get this x coordinate of rocket 1, I need to write rocket1.x. Only then it's going to give me the output of this 0. All of this, again, as I've mentioned, will start making sense once we go ahead and do something with this type of thing that we have created over here, right? But just one thing you need to know, that what we have done so far is to create one simple class rocket. After that, we added some attributes, and these are nothing but the xy coordinates. And by default, whenever this will be called, it will always be set to 0. We are not allowing users to change these values as of now. But yes, this is something that we have created. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just write some of the comments over here. This is what? This is the rocket that's going to simulate any kind of rocket for your game or whatever it could be. So this is building a class with some attributes. You can give this kind of comments if you want. I'm going to use special method in Python to initialize the attributes for this class. So if I don't have init, like how we were not having it over here, it automatically means that it has no properties over here. Over here, because I'm giving two properties to it, so now it is having two properties. That's what it simply means. Okay. So now these are the comments that I'm giving, and I'm just going to run this code over here. And after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this particular class that I have created and create an object out of it. Okay. So let me just call it as, let's say, for example, rocket1. And what I want to do, I want to create a rocket out of it. So what I'm doing, I'm calling that blueprint that I have created. And by just calling that blueprint, I am going to create an object out of it. And I'm just giving some name to it as rocket1. I can give any kind of name. I can give Rohan if I want to. You can give your name also to that rocket. You can also give Hayabusa for that matter. SpaceX, Starship, whatever you want to give. Okay. But for now, just to make everything simple and straightforward, let me give it as rocket1. So what is this rocket1? It's an object of this particular class called as rocket. Okay. So I'm just going to run this and let's see what happens. I can give a comment over here is that is create an object of the class rocket. Okay. And there is an alternate way of saying the same thing that is written over here. That is, you are creating an instance of class rocket by building this object over here. Whatever you like, but these are the basic terminologies that you should be aware about. Now that we have created this rocket1, let me just go ahead and print, see what's happening by calling this rocket1 as it is. So you can see that this is the object of that rocket stored at a particular memory location. Okay, that's something that we know about this particular rocket1. Now what happens if I'm saying type on top of this? Let's see what happens. So it's saying that the type of this rocket is actually the rocket. That this object that you have created is belonging to the class called as rocket, right? So yes, again, this is something that we have done, that we have created an object from this class. And now if you want to get its X value or the Y value, that means if you want to get access to the property of that rocket that you have created, how you can do this? So I'll just say that extract the values of X and Y from that rocket1, or I should say for that rocket1, right? For that rocket1. And now how can I do this? So let's say if I want to, let's say, get X coordinate for rocket1 is what? It's going to be, let's say, because I know that this X is where that value is. So should I use self.x over here? No, this self is actually this rocket1 that we have created. You remember I have told you about that whenever we are using this self, it's actually referring to the current object that we are dealing with. So because this object whose X coordinate we want to find is called as rocket1, I need to say this as rocket1. So this rocket1 is nothing but the self in this condition. So if I go ahead and run this code, it says that X coordinate for rocket1 is 0. Let's see if I'm just changing this to 1 for now. And then again creating rocket1 from this. And now I run this code. See what happens. It says that X coordinate for rocket1 is 1. So it's able to access this attribute with the help of this particular way of writing this command. Okay. Instead of self, you give the name of that object over here. Okay. So I hope this kind of things are clear to you, and I'll just set it back to 0 over here and run all this code again. And I'll also just copy paste this one more time for Y over here. Okay. So I'm going to say that my Y coordinate for rocket1 is rocket1.y. Simple as that. So this is demonstrating that how you can add any type of attributes. I can also give color over here. Okay. I can give as many attributes, as many properties as I want to this rocket, and also get access for that respective property for the object that we have created over here. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video over here. And I hope that by now you are feeling much confident regarding how you can create your own class and how you can set up the attributes for that class or the properties for that class. then how you can create an instance of that class by creating an object of it, and then how you can test it if you have to. Now in the next video, we are going to see that how we can create a method through which our rockets can start moving.